I have only two thoughts for you today. The first is famine in the land, which is verses 1 and 2. Verse 1 begins with these words, "Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled." In the Hebrew, the book opens with these words in Hebrew, Vehi bime shefot hashoftim, and came to pass in the days when judged the judges. A book beginning with the word "and" might seem a little bit remarkable to us. It is as if we read the Bible and we come to this particular book and find it's merely a continuation of the same story that we've been reading. And for all intents and purposes, it is. God is revealing to us wonders, unfolding them in a logical sequence which may or may not be chronological, but they fit in a fashion which is as orderly as if they were chronological. This same word "and" begins the books of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Joshua, Judges, 1 and 2 Samuel, 1 and 2 Kings, 2 Chronicles, Ezekiel, Esther, and Ezra. Beginning this way is certainly intended to show us an unraveling of a thought process which had already began elsewhere. The time when the judges ruled begins with the time of a person named Othniel, who became the judge after Joshua died. His time of judging began in Judges 3, verse 7, and it goes all the way until the time of Samuel, who was the last judge of Israel. The time of the kings replaced the time of the judges when Samuel anointed Saul to be the first king. And that's recorded in 1 Samuel 10, verse 1. Let me read that to you. Then Samuel took a flask of oil and poured it on his head and kissed him and said, "Is it not because the Lord has anointed you commander over his inheritance?" And that's the end of the time of the judges. Knowing that the author of Ruth said that these things came to pass in the days when the judges ruled, tells us that it was written after that time. In the last chapter of Ruth, it's going to mention King David, and so we know that it was written either during or after his life as well, and it's unsure who wrote the book. Jewish tradition says that Samuel wrote it, but whether it was him or whether it was someone else, they were under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, and thus the majestic and beautiful story is given to ultimately show us the person and work of Jesus Christ. Of this, there can be absolutely no doubt. There will be specific names of people and places which are selected purposefully, and they are done so to reveal hidden treasures of God's redemptive plans. As we continue through the book, every single detail is going to be carefully sifted through in order to reveal him. Finally, before we go on, to understand that word "and" at the beginning of Ruth, it's necessary to understand what the situation of Israel was during the time of the judges. The theme of the book of Judges can be pretty much summed up in the following words, which are the very last words of that book. Here's what it says in Judges chapter 21. "In those days, there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes." This phrase, or a portion of it, is repeated 4 times in the book. It shows that despite being under a theocracy, there was no true union among the people, and there was often more of anarchy than obedience to God. However, God promised under the law blessing and fruitfulness when the people were obedient, and the opposite when they weren't. So for a time in this story, there is a lack of fruitfulness in the land, and thus it is a time of disobedience within Israel. The lack is noted in the continuation of verse 1.